It's impossible to describe what it was like growing up here as a child. It was magical. It really was.
Katharine Armstrong is a fifth-generation Texan. She grew up on her family's historic South Texas cattle ranch in Kennedy County. 92,000 acres were purchased by Katharine's great-great-grandfather, James Durst, in 1852 for 1,600 pesos, roughly $106.
The history of this ranch has always been part of your life, really. I mean, it developed a lot of, I think, resourcefulness in us and independence. We were up close and very personal with the land.
Growing up at Armstrong and having that influence of the outdoors directly in her life comes across clearly to everyone she comes around.
It's a beauty I certainly appreciate, and I don't think there's any other place in the United States like it.
It shaped who my mom has become, because my mom really loved this ranch and she loves the environment around it, and was always wanted to maximize that and make it the best for the quail, for the cattle, for the deer, for everything that lives off of it.
You just picked up things about wildlife and Mother Nature around here just by living it and understanding it as a result of seeing cause and effect or this and that, you know, day in and day out. They're right there. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Quail hunting on the Armstrong Ranch dates back more than a century.
It's been around for hundreds of years and it hasn't changed any. And if you want the real McCoy on wild quail hunting, this is where you come.
Good shot.
For the Armstrongs, hunting is a rite of passage.
All the children kind of went through the similar routine. You got to shoot a dove with a .22 when you were very, very young. And then when you were confident enough and safe enough at that level, you would shoot your first deer or your first javelina or whatever.
My first experience hunting quail, I had my mom teaching me, which I think is pretty unique.
The first time I picked up a gun and actually, shot quail, it was one of those things where it was a moment of responsibility and a moment of appreciation.
Shooting quail was very grown up, and it was considered a privilege that the young people just had to take, they had to take their turn and after the adults. And by the time you're about 16 or 17, you were part of the deal. One of the greatest things about shooting quail is you don't sit around, you get out and move.
She is one of those rare individuals who just naturally is a good shot. She has shot so much and for so long, it just comes to her naturally.
South Texas has always been very forward thinking in terms of women and shooting. We were not just encouraged, we were expected to shoot, and we were expected to shoot well. I got one, did you see that? Did you get it?
She is an excellent shot. She'll embarrass you sometimes.
She and I have a propensity for picking out the same bird out of a covey rise. By the time I shoot the bird, she has killed the bird about a half a second before I shot.
I don't think being just a good shot is enough. You really got to understand those animals, those birds. And if you really understand, you know how to move, and you know how to get to them, and you know how to get yourself in the right place. And then you can be a good shot.
My grandparents were very keen on the land and passing that legacy on to their children as well as to their grandchildren. And they took a lot of pride in creating habitat, sustaining their conservation efforts, and not just in Armstrong, but all around Texas. It's a very big deal.
The land and outdoors are a very big deal to Katharine, and that love led her being appointed to the Texas Parks and Wildlife Commission in 1999. Then, in 2001, she became the first chairwoman.
Katharine is a conservationist. She's not just a landowner or a hunter or a commissioner or a chairman. Katharine is a conservationist.
We have got to figure out a way for city Texans to learn enough good, solid knowledge about conservation and about our environment to make good policy decisions, to be informed voters, because it does concern me that as we become more cityfied, that our voters are going to probably make decisions based on misplaced and uninformed compassion. And that worries me.
She doesn't ask for your respect or your loyalty. She doesn't demand respect or loyalty. She works to earn respect and loyalty.
Any advice that I have to give to other women about maybe becoming chairman of Parks and Wildlife, be sure you know how to shoot. It helps.
After leading the Texas Parks and Wildlife Commission, she teamed up with her good friend, former First Lady Laura Bush, to start Taking Care of Texas.
Laura Bush has a very sincere heart for conservation. It goes back to her childhood. Her mother was a bird watcher and would take Laura out when she was very little.
Taking Care of Texas was created to help raise awareness and collaborate with others that are having success with their own projects and highlight those successes.
Park City's quail is a perfect example of a grassroots effort by a group of sportsmen in a region of Texas that see a need and pull together to try to find a solution. That's exactly the kind of thing that we want to champion.
Obviously, quail are in trouble all over the United States, especially in the Northeast and the Midwest. Quail have just been diminishing. In western Oklahoma, where I go, I've been going there for 40 years, and that country doesn't look like it's changed any, and yet the quail are just going down. So there's obviously something going on with these birds that we've yet to find out what the real problem is.
Work up!
There aren't enough taxpayer dollars in the world to replace the effort, the both financial and love that are committed by people at Park City's quail to habitat, to health of these birds. There aren't enough government dollars to replace what you guys do.
She has always been very concerned and driven by science, that it's one thing to have your heart in the right place, but your head needs to be there as well. That if you want to go after a conservation effort, if you want to really make that measurable, quantifiable, positive impact on something, it's got to be backed up by science.
Every Texan, big and small, has got to get involved in this effort so that we can leave a wonderful state for many generations to come, and we're optimistic. We're absolutely optimistic that that's doable.
Katharine, there are two people that are very proud of you. Unfortunately, due to some scheduling conflicts, they couldn't be here tonight, but they had a very special message for you that we'd like you to listen to.
Congratulations to Katharine Armstrong, the first woman to receive the Park City's Quail T. Boone Pickens Lifetime Sportsman Award.
Katharine is also the first woman to serve as the chair of the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department. Having shot quail with Katharine, I can attest to the fact that she is an incredible wing shot. She's a sharp eye, cracks great jokes, and she's a lot of fun.
Katharine and I work together on our new nonprofit, Taking Care of Texas. The work of Park City's Quail and the Texas Quail Coalition represent exactly what Taking Care of Texas is about: collaborative conservation at its best. Her dedication to conservation comes from the heart, and her efforts are informed by a lifetime of ranch and hunting experience in South and West Texas. Her work has built a statewide legacy that will benefit Texans for many generations.
So please join us in celebrating and congratulating a fine sportswoman and a wonderful friend, Katharine Armstrong.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to present tonight's honoree, T. Boone Pickens, and our guest of honor, Katharine Armstrong.
We didn't want the first woman. We wanted the best. Okay. Now, I can't lift that and hand it to you, and you can't.
I don't think I can pick it up.
No. So we'll just look at it. Okay, good.
Katharine, you want to say a few words?
Yes, I would love to say
Yeah, right
a few words. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I'm just overwhelmed. I really, really am. I see some past winners right here, and that just fills my heart because I have so much respect for for all the past winners, that to be included in that number is very, very moving. This is quite something, really. I really am overwhelmed. Thank you so much. This has been an entirely amazing evening for me, and I know it is for my family too. Bowled over, Boone is not too strong a word to express how I felt when you called me that day and asked if I would be willing to accept this award. And I went, "Are you kidding me?" Of course I'm going to accept this award. It's one of the greatest honors of my life, and I can't thank you and Park Cities Quail enough. It is a deep and important honor for me and my family. Thank you very much. You know, they say that the measure of an award is the company it keeps. Well, I tell you what, when I see who the past honorees have been, I can tell you I know I'm in very, very high cotton. Thank you. I want to thank some of the people that have made the last few months since I got that telephone call from Boone so much fun. I want to thank especially Matt, Perry Miller, and his adorable wife, Elizabeth, who have just been fantastic. And I think, once again, they've made this just an amazing night. And I've gotten to be friends, so I really, really do want to thank them. I want to thank Joe Crafton and Bubba Wood and Walter Mattia for this spectacular sculpture. I will treasure this beauty for the rest of my life. Thank you so much. Michelle Fruman, you've done so much to keep me organized. Jerry Cadigan and the whole WFAA crew, my God, you make everybody look like $1 million. You can come see me anytime you want. And Bill Noble, where are you? There you are, Bill. Thank you so much for underwriting that fun lunch. God, we had such a great time. And being a presenting sponsor and for donating that spectacular necklace that we're going to auction off today. Give them a big hand of applause. You know, there are just certain things that you got to have in life to get anywhere. And I think the most important thing is family. My family has made it possible for me to live a very rich and fulfilling life. It would never have turned out that way without their love and support. My mother, my father, my siblings, my precious, darling, supportive husband, Ben, my daughter, Ann, my sons, Karsten and Barkley. I love you so much. And my niece, Sally, is here tonight. Sally, where are you? I love you too, darling. Thank you for coming. I want to thank you for selecting. I agree, I'm not the winner. I got selected, which is even more special, I think, in many ways, especially by this crowd. But I want to thank you for selecting me to be the first woman to receive this award. I want to say something about that because it's important to me. My mother cared a lot about her first, and so do I. And now my daughter, Ann, is laying down her first. She recently became the first general counsel, female general counsel of the Texas General Land Office, and I'm very proud of that. And yes, I was the first and still the only female to serve as chairman of the Texas Parks and Wildlife Commission, the ultimate male club. And a club I was very proud to be a member of, I must say. People ask me, what are the traits that make a woman chairman successful? And I don't hesitate at all. Be sure you can outshoot the men. And if you can outshoot the men, I'm telling you, everything else falls right into place. Ladies, please step up and don't shy away if you ever have an opportunity to serve Texas. Women are the great untapped potential of hunting and therefore conservation in this country. Serving on the Parks and Wildlife Commission was really one of the great experiences of my life. I learned more about the character of Texans in the time I served on the commission than in any other time in my life. What struck me then and humbles me still is the love that Texans have for their wildlife resources. As long as that love is as strong as it is, we have nothing to worry about. Public meetings, if anybody's ever been to a public meeting at Parks and Wildlife, were an amazement to me. People from every walk of life, from every corner of Texas, made their way to Austin to have their say. Whether it was quail hunters or bass fishermen, whether it was ranchers or bow hunters, honestly, it didn't matter. They were there because they loved the natural resources of this state and put their money and their time where it mattered. And like I said, as long as that passion is alive, our wildlife resources will be there for all Texans to enjoy. There were some funny moments too, many funny moments. Commissioners would get a lot of mail, usually from concerned constituents about this matter or the other. And I was on the Hunting Regulations Committee, so I got even more, I think, than my fair share. One day, I received a letter in very tortured handwriting. The gentleman who wrote the letter was pleading with me to raise some bag limits. His letter ended, "Madam Chairman, a man can hardly feed a family of 5 on a 4 bullfrog a day limit." I was aghast that 4 bullfrogs was all the protein this poor family was getting every day. But only a gal raised on a ranch in South Texas would jump to the conclusion that the man and his family were having bullfrogs for dinner. But you have no idea what my father used to put on our plates for dinner. Although my family taught me how to shoot and opened my eyes to the incredible natural wonder of South Texas, it was my mother and her girlfriends who taught me, and I'm sure my sister would agree, about style in the hunting field. The great thing about quail hunting, ladies, is that camo is strictly forbidden, thank God. You can be just as cute as you want to be in the quail field. Hot colors are a must. Big hats and sunglasses, skinny jeans work great. Gorgeous boots and scarves, I'll tell you, you can go all out trying to keep from getting shot. It's fantastic. I know it may sound shallow, but style is the icing on the cake. And shooting quail is the only hunting sport I know of that allows ladies that expression in spades. Over the last few months, my family and I have had the opportunity to get to know some of the terrific leadership of Park City's quail. We've spent hours talking about our favorite subject, and it's given me the opportunity to think about what an organization like Park City's quail means to all Texans, and maybe even beyond. As you just heard, Laura Bush inspired us to found a new conservation organization called Taking Care of Texas. Laura is passionate about doing what she can to assist volunteer, community-led, and science-based organizations amplify the great work they're already doing. Volunteer, community-led, and science-based sounds a whole lot like Park City's quail to me. We understand that the work that your membership does benefits quail, no doubt, for the enjoyment of sportsmen, but we also believe that the scientific information that your efforts garner and the habitat management that so many of you invest in so generously have direct benefits to all Texans and all Texas wildlife. And through the dollars that you invest in education, you're doing your part to ensure that there are Texans down the road who honor the role of hunters and sportsmen as the original and enduring conservationist of our country. Someone called me after reading a newspaper article about me getting this award and asked me how he could get an award for doing something so much fun as shooting quail. And I kind of looked at him and said, well, you got a point, but it's a pretty minor point. The joy of shooting quail is what feeds our passion. The passion and the love is what drives us all in this room to get off our behinds, to open up our checkbooks, and do our part to ensure that we have lots of quail for a long, long time. Now, I know you could say to yourself, I don't have to worry about this. Boone Pickens has got it covered. But it's not sporting to expect one or two people to pick up the tab for something we all enjoy so much. We all need to get some skin in the game, and this auction is perfect for that. Now, speaking of the auction, I'm pretty sure, Boone, that I'm going to have the authority to come back up here to the microphone if things start slowing down. And believe me, I will. And I'll name names, too. So let's dig deep so I don't have to call you out, and let's set a fundraising record tonight. That way, our great-grandchildren will be able to enjoy that amazing experience of walking across a field in the early morning, the dew soaking their boots, the call of a bobwhite quail in the distance, the feel of a familiar shotgun in their hands, and that incredible moment of anticipation when their dog freezes and the covey explodes. So let's really get after it tonight to preserve that experience as our legacy to this part of the world. I want to thank you all again for this great honor. God bless Texas, its quail, and thank each and every one of you for taking care of Texas. Thank you.